I imagine you have many questions. Masks are interesting, are they not? They're they are meant to be a disguise, and yet a mask cannot lie or contort itself to hide the truth. Neat. Alright, +1 investigation. I hope so, but please, detective, be careful. Alright, well thank you, friend. Oh, that ominous sound, though. You sure you don't want to give us more of the octopus balls, huh? Alright. Off we go. What about you? Look. Yeah, we already saw that. Enter. Welcome, come in, do sit down. No need to be so formal and stand there like a statue. How can I help you? Are you Yashuhisha? Takashi told me to come speak with you. Oh, and how is Mr. Kawana? Still prickly as ever, I suppose. I've always found him to be wise beyond his years, though perhaps not by choice. I digress, my apologies. It's the quirks that come with old age, you know. What does Mr. Kawana think I can help you with? I'm looking into a few things related to the Common Kai, the group his family got mixed up in. Ah, a more difficult answer than you might expect. You see, there are two groups that share that name. The first, as you know, is a religious group formed by the guru Tokimasa, which is the one I think we need. The second is an ancient order over 1,000 years old. What's that you're holding? I was told it's related to the Common Kai, or the newer one that you could tell me about. I was hoping you could tell me about it. Ah, that explains many things, child. The far-off look in your eyes, for one. I imagine you have many questions. Masks are interesting, are they not? They are meant to be a disguise, and yet a mask cannot lie or contort itself to hide the truth. In that sense, it is the mask that is more truthful than the human faces we hide underneath them. I wonder how you came to be in possession of an object with such a dark history. I think it might be related to a missing person, but I don't know anything about it beyond that. Ah, but that itself is the essence of history. Layers upon layers of personal connections. You know, if we didn't have this mask right now, this would probably screw us over. Although, you notice that he's like all dotty on the right? Like he's dead? Are we already in the dark and we just don't know it? Ah, but that itself is the essence of history. Layers upon layers of personal connections that are continuously peeled back to their root. Relics like that one you hold often take unusual routes to where they end up. Relic? If it's from the Common Kai cult from the 90s, then I'd hardly call it a relic. Misguided and deceptive as he was, Tokimasa was no fool. In order to gain new followers, he needed to give his cult historical legitimacy. He collected obscure objects and gave them new meanings that he could control in order to manipulate his followers. The mask was what he chose, along with the name of the group that created it. Interesting, isn't it? Yeah, I guess so. Only, I guess I was hoping you could tell me some other things about it. For instance? Like why, now that I'm about to say it out loud, it sounds silly. I'm sorry I bothered you. Don't be silly. You wonder, for example, why holding the mask seems to take you to another place? Or perhaps, why you can see visions that don't seem real? Why you feel a strong will exerting itself on you? And the fact that you look like you come from an old-time staticky TV with bad reception? Oh yes, I know all about... Oh yes, I know all about those things too. I can imagine. How could you know about that? When Tokimasa was in possession of it, he believed it showed him a path to the realm of the gods. He wrote extensively on the subject. Though unlike most, I don't discount such phenomenon as the ravings of a madman when the phenomena repeats itself. Do you two look into the inky blackness and see familiar shapes in the shadows? Not shadows. I see and hear people who are supposed to be dead, and I find things I couldn't possibly have found otherwise. Like this tea shop looks like it hasn't been a thing for a long time. It looks like the place was down running, like nobody had been here in a long time from what, like looking at the door said earlier. In which case, this guy is not with the living. He can't be. Like even his text is a different color for some reason. Most interesting. Tell me, detective. Oh, apologize. Oh, apologies. Do you mind if I call you that? I don't remember telling you I was a detective. Ha! My mistake. You must forgive me. A slip of the tongue. Uh-huh. Sure. I believe it was the way you carried yourself. Determined investigators, such as yourself, have such a sense of purpose in their mannerisms, you see. And you do seem rather determined to get to the bottom of whatever it is you're chasing. Tell me, does me telling you that your experiences are not an illusion provide you any level of comfort? I'm not sure, but I do feel something. Maybe hope? It's like I've finally got a foothold on solid ground. So either we haven't taken our pills in a long time and we're completely insane, this guy's a ghost, or I don't know. Yes, knowledge is a knowledge is a light in dark places, is it not? To think a relic of such importance maybe? Of such import would end up with a detective. Do you mind if I ask you something? Which do you believe? Are our lives controlled by fate? I swear this is the collector. This is the fucking collector. If it's not the collector, I'm gonna be surprised, but I bet you it's the collector. Which do you believe? Are lives controlled by fate? Pre-measured threads that determine our deeds, our wishes, and our ends the minute we've come into existence? Or conversely, is our thread subject to the chaos inherent in our universe instead? Does it change according to our deeds and that which happens to us seemingly by accident? Do you believe it is fate or chance that decides threads of life are cut short and which are followed? Technically neither in a sense, but I definitely think chance is more likely than fate. I don't think fate's a thing. I feel like the things we do, there may be a direction, but I feel like you can alter it quite a bit, like almost like the threads will go different directions because of it. So I'm gonna say chance. Yes, of course. Maybe you feel your life has been somewhat out of your control as of late. Control, huh? To be honest, I don't feel like I've had much of that since the mask came to me. You said that the mask was made by the old Kamen Kai. Why? Confusing me can't be the purpose it was made for. Yes, a more complicated answer than you might have wished for. Indeed, it should come as no surprise that the creation of such a mysterious object is equally enigmatic. Indeed, it should come as no surprise that the creation of such a mysterious object is equally enigmatic. Perhaps you could do me a favor. Don't worry, it is in relation to this very topic. An important book has gone missing from my shop. If you could retrieve it for me, I feel it could shine a great deal of light on the subject. What kind of book? I'm assuming we're going to go back to the bookstore with that one guy that was hanging out front, part of the collector family. A book of the missing variety. Haha, I'm sorry, I jest. It concerns the mask bearer. Mask bearer? So basically the one wearing it or using it. Huh? That's me, right? Although you carry it, that does not make you its bearer. All will become clear when the book is returned to me. Sounds easy enough. Where can I start looking? Oh, you needn't go far. The man who has it is right outside this building. In fact, as I said, it's not much of an errand, but I, of course, cannot leave my shop. You can't because you're a ghost. He's right outside? This won't take long. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm not so sure. We're going to be tested. I can feel it. And I feel like that old man's part of it. This is all a game to them. What, this guy? Has this guy got your book? The old tea shop next door. Isn't that place closed down? Closed? That can't be right. What else do you know about it? Pure conjecture on this one, but I think it might be owned by the kendo instructor from the dojo down the street, on account of him being the only one I've ever seen in there. Really? That's interesting. Maybe there's more to the story. Maybe the brother is evil. Oh, fuck, I accidentally skipped one. You guys are gonna have to go back and read that one. I'm sorry. Then again, it might be some super awesome kendo meditation technique. Oh man, why didn't I think of that before? Next time I ought to ask him for some pointers instead of spying on him, eh? Word through the grapevine is that he's a regional champion or something and has trained some of the best. Lots of cops train with him too, so he must be good. Maybe he's not so crazy after all. Speaking of which, I have a bit of a crazy question for you. I know you said it was closed, but do you know anything about a book taken from there, maybe recently? I was led to believe you would. Bunch of question marks? Oh geez. Go on. You stole it, didn't you? Like I said, the place has been empty for years, but you know, I spent a lot of time outside it, and half the time the door is wide open. So one day a few months back I decided to take a look around. Nothing suspicious or nothing. I was just curious is all. Cough. Curiosity killed the cat, right? Anyway, it was all dusty and old, and there was all sorts of weird stuff laying around. So I might have taken a little souvenir. I mean, it wasn't super old or nothing, so I figured no one would miss it. Besides, it wasn't for me. It was for my kid brother. That guy can get deep in the dumps sometimes, so I try to be on standby for when that happens, you know? So I figured a little gift would cheer him up. And back then, he was going through some particularly tough times. His bitch wife, pardon my language, miss, had left him and taken their kid daughter with her. He still doesn't talk about it, like he's in denial or something. Whoops, got off track again. I was heading to visit him with the ill-gotten book when I get this phone call saying he was in the hospital. He'd OD'd on some expensive sake and sleeping pills. Oh jeez. Thank God that idiot decided to do it at a bar he owns, with the door unlocked. A customer came in and called an ambulance. If it weren't for that, I'm not sure if he'd still be here. That's quite a story. Sounds to me like he wanted to be found. Yeah, I think so too. I think he was trying to ask for help in his own way. In any case, I took the book to him while he was in the hospital, tried to show him that even when he was at his lowest, there was someone out there trying to do something nice for him, you know? I think it helped for a minute anyhow. As soon as the doctors let him leave, he went right back to that toxic little bar. I hope he's okay. He's got issues, but he's my little brother and I worry about him. And he's got a book that could drive him insane. Lovely. He's not been answering my phone calls lately. Originally, my brother's bitch ex-wife, sorry again, had the brilliant idea to put his skill to work in a cheap part of town. Despite that, he's holding on to it with everything he's got. The place is slowly bankrupting him, but he won't let it go. All he has to do is sign some papers and move on, but he can't. Something about it has its claws sank deep into him. I've been trying to get him to join me in my business for years. He's a great chef, and we could make a killing. Maybe it's not the same as owning a whole bar, but serving passers-by and getting some sunshine is good for the soul. Plus, food stands are doing really well abroad, I hear. Much better than wasting away in Shinjuku, at any rate. Shinjuku? Yeah, in a slimy little side street. Oh, man! That's the dude we talked to at the beginning, the guy who was talking about maybe being a chef. Oh no! I think we were the ones that told him, to stick with it instead of being a chef or something like that. Oh, that's depressing. And then we find out that he tried to kill himself. Oh, no. Anyway, if that book is important to you, he's probably still got it at his place. You want the address? Wait, I knew you looked familiar. Your brother's Daiso, right? You know him? Small world. Was probably the smile on my face that threw you off. Tell him his brother Haruto says hi. While you're at it, tell him that takoyaki stands are still the future of cuisine and to get his butt over here, haha. I'll do that. Thanks for all your help. Oh man, they do look alike. I thought he looked really familiar to somebody. And I didn't say anything because I was like, well, maybe they just reused a character model. Now I know why.
From the secret shadows of dawn, there's a darkness to disguise. The simple thought I recognize